Hey everyone, I just wanted to do a short little video on Maddynf's build competition, kind of showcase my build. She did kind of an arrows tour theme, so I kind of know how to go with that, but kind of went with I normally go with. Try to do large kind of naturey type builds, and just for what I know about Taylor Swift and the Eras tour and the lights and colors of her concert and stuff, kind of try to go with some of that. And so it's going to kind of show you what I've been working on and then some of my major build, which is right here. And so we'll kind of start here. This is just a little lighthouse that I built. Not a whole lot going on here. But this kind of winds all the way up to the top. And then right below it is my iron farm. Opens up to the top here, but not a whole lot going on. Top looks like. And just the kind of a simplistic underground iron farm. What do I see? Lots of iron just floating there. So definitely not the most impressive part about this whole build. And then there's a tunnel that leads to my main base under there, but not important. And kind of the coolest part about this build, which will be just a little bit here, will be at night. It actually looks a lot cooler. So you can kind of see I built up kind of a circular shape of jungle trees here, one on top of the other. And then I've done a whole bunch of stuff to light it up between frog lights and our glowberries and stuff like that. So here's kind of my main house here that I kind of started out with when I first started over here. And it's alongside this village here. And we got Zyron's builds over here. We're built on kind of two different parts of this village here. And goes across. So some of the stuff I've done here. So I got kind of a little villager market here. Never really finished that, but we got our enchantment table hiding in here. As you can see, it's just not quite finished this, but that's fine. But this is going to lead you kind of into my base. So you got a lava farm here. All set up there. So here's kind of the first house. This is kind of where I started. It was on this house, and there wasn't all these trees or everything like that. Kind of show the insides of this. It's not too impressive, but I was able to fish out a lot of good books and stuff to get me going. Get a lot of food and stuff like that. And so nothing too impressive. And it's kind of the upstairs here. Not too much going on there. Kind of my little storage area here. I'm gonna store most things for my build. Well, not too impressive, but and then kind of this little underground little room here, so it's kind of nice. Looks out towards the ocean here. It's got some neat stuff there. kind of show you the roof and what that looks like. But typically I like to go for like nature-y type builds, or looking. So this is kind of how. So this is kind of where it all began, and then I kind of started building this around. Started with getting all the trees up, they're getting all the glowberries in them, and so it lights up. But there's a lot of frog lights and other things down there that kind of brightens this up. So on the outside, it looks really cool, especially at night with the shader pack. You can kind of see it, you know, looks amazing when you fly around. And so it's kind of a large tree house that wraps around these trees as you go all the way up. And so it goes pretty high up here. So we're about 270-ish here. And so I don't really even know where to begin. If we want to, we could start at the bottom going up or top going up. But once I built the trees, I built this fountain. This looks really cool with the shader pack. And so this is kind of everything gets centered around this, mainly around this fountain. And so you can see there's 4 different entrances, colored with a different color of frog light. Oh, kind of neat. Got these little firefly bushes all up and down, all different levels on here, so you kind of get the ambient sound and hopefully some of that light. Too bad somebody slept, unfortunately. But as you go down, you can use this to go down. This is my portal to the nether roof. See, it looks really sweet with the shader pack. Then you got the ambience of the trees and the light shining through them. Go through here, you kind of see that looks like here. So kind of did the same theme. So it's pretty easy to spot where my base is. And so we're going to fly to the bottom and probably work our way up so you can kind of see some of the different features. So this goes all the way up, so don't worry, I'm not going to die. So kind of have this really cool look here. Okay, got our little flowers here, kind of giving their ambience and stuff. Got the fireflies. Okay, got all sorts of different types of light. So you got these little blue lanterns. And you got frog light. You can kind of see ones picking out through the tree, but they're kind of spread throughout. You got the glowberries going through here, and then underneath here we got a little axolotl farm, or not farm, but kind of a little lake here. And then we got blue glass that kind of stops us from falling into it. So, but it looks really cool with the shader pack. Without the shader pack, you really can't see into this like you can now. So kind of give you a view. This is the house that we saw earlier. This is kind of the center of my base. And then this is the point where I started my treehouse, and it just kind of wraps and slowly wraps around all the way as you get up top. And we'll kind of look at some of that. But we're going to look at some of these lower features first. So I just got my little stable here. Too many animals here. Got a few different little lakes here that are in between trees here as well. Kind of neat. It's mainly my turtles and non-aggressive mobs are here. Fish AI is just weird in Java. In Bedrock, they relatively flow, they swim around. and they're different pods and stuff more naturally, but in Java they kind of like group together oddly. I don't know if that's just like a paper thing or if it's Java itself. And then we got another little lake over here. This is my little stone generator I have here. Generate a lot of the stone for a lot of the building I did around here. Storage area. This has a lot of the jungle trees and stuff that I used to build this tree house, because I built a farm of jungle trees that I eventually just kept farming over there to build all this and get all the wood. Here's kind of my other lake, and we'll kind of look on the outside part of this again, but this is kind of my little stack of cherry blossoms. And here we got this little guy. Here are the different types of coral here, and then, well, that one's mainly moss, but we're kind of going with like a little old school Windows logo. Here you can kind of see that little flying Windows logo there. But this has some axolotls here. So this is kind of like my aggressive mobs that won't attack each other, but won't attack anything else. Whereas that side over there is non-aggressive mobs. And this one's just axolotls. Okay, going through that. So then we got some campfires on the edge of this to kind of give that smoky effect and that ambient sound. Okay, so part of this, we got a small little build here. This is where I put my farms. So the roof's similar to the house over there, kind of naturey. Got kind of a little secret room up here. This is where I have my little ancient guys. Oh, they've been collecting stuff for me. Oh, look at that. So they just work in here. These two guys kind of collect stuff for me, and as I go in, they just throw it at me. So pretty neat. Oh, already got one again. That's kind of neat. And then as you go up a little bit farther, hope you can just grab one of these, go up. And so that's the room they're in right there. And then as we go up, it's got my various different farms. So I'm gonna need to go up a little bit farther. That's just the roof again. But then I got my different layered farms here. So here we got carrots, potatoes here, and then kind of the storage bin for this stuff. Go up further, and then we got mainly our other stuff. Our beets, our wheat, same sort of deal. Storage there. And then this is slightly different, but here we got our squash essentially. We got our melons. And we got our pumpkins and stuff like that. So kind of cool. Can't remember where I put the storage for this. It's here somewhere. Okay, there it is. Storage there. And so that's mainly it for this piece. And then you can kind of see some of the outskirts of the house. And so kind of looking down here, you can guys see one of my lakes. You see my happy gas. He just kind of chills there. But kind of a cool, here we'll kind of look up on this. It looks really cool with the light coming in and stuff with the shader pack. And then, oh, it looks like we got a little fox trapped in the water, but kind of look over here so you can kind of see what it looks like. That's right, I'll just fly up there. Same kind of thing here, is that there's that other lake, kind of see the window symbols sticking out. You can kind of see the sides of this, so kind of fly around so you guys get a little view of it from all perspectives, and then we'll do the same thing at night. Once again, there's Zyron's base. She's got a whole bunch of stuff going on here, a little sushi house. But so as you fly here, there's my main house there. You can kind of see some of the treehouse poking it in and out. It goes way up there. See all the vines, so if you don't like running into vines slowing you down, probably won't like that. So, pretty neat. And as we go through the house, you'll kind of see there's little outlets and stuff. I didn't quite finish as many as I wanted to, but little balconies and stuff you can fly in on and get into the build at various different points. But kind of the idea was to kind of have it a little bit hidden to get into it mainly. So there's my little chicken farm here, various different eggs. Okay, so here's kind of the main inlet from the low side, or you can get up on the balcony from the roof right across here. But here you got a little balcony, and so you'll see several of these out here. So it looks kind of cool. Got a little fox trap in the water there. I like that little ambience and that light poking through. You guys see all the glow berries and stuff. And we'll kind of walk through this. So this little balcony kind of wraps around a little bit here. You can kind of see the interior of my base. Kind of see where my little stage area. Kind of try to go with the kind of Era tour type, ambient stage lighting and stuff that she did. Best I could, because I don't really know a whole lot about Taylor Swift. And then the main house over there, can't quite see it, but you can kind of see some of the treehouse poking through. And you got our flowers and stuff, giving some of that ambience effect. Back into the house, and so it kind of takes a while. Got a little storage here for some of the stuff I used. Yeah, not much stuff there. But we're gonna kind of walk through a little hidden bed there. We got some foxes and stuff and other animals throughout this. Little group of foxes. But I didn't get a chance to really finish or do much with the interior. But you can kind of see, got the main structure down. Got one of our little friends in here. But it's kind of that nature thing going all the way through. Just kind of, all these trees are kind of in a circle pattern, so I just kept slowly going up to each tree and connecting to each tree, making different widths of different levels. So here we're just kind of tunneling up to the next tree. More storage for in between. Then we got another balcony here. So this one kind of lets us look in on our main little pond here. Looking up at our fountain. Viewpoint's kind of blocked a little bit. Let's kind of take that out so we can kind of see. Kind of neat. Let's take that out. Okay, there. Yeah, that gives us kind of a little bit better view here. But kind of neat. We'll work our way up, and we'll still have several points like that. We're sitting here in another balcony. This kind of looks over to my lighthouse, out into the ocean a little bit. Very neat. There's the area I farmed a lot of my jungle trees and got saplings and stuff. So I got a little dock here that goes up to our lighthouse. Just kind of keep going up. So we have to get to level 250-ish, I think is the peak level for the top part of this treehouse. You can kind of look out and see some of the stuff I've done. See on some of the lanterns. Can't really peek any of the frog light, but there's some frog light in the upper parts of the trees, typically on these corners, to help kind of give that lighting, the ambience effect. There's another balcony. Probably might be able to spot some here. I guess, but Oh, there you can see a frog light right there. But there's some kind of throughout here. So continue to go up. And look out. Lighthouse there. Another balcony. See Zyron space over there. So you mainly kind of get the idea here. So I'm quite finished at all, but it would have been nice to get some of the interior done a little bit nicer. But this still, the perspective this gives is kind of cool. So yeah, I love that about this shader pack. Look at that, Eora. That is peak. That looks so cool. See if we get another balcony that looks that way. Oh, this one looks the wrong way. But kind of cool. You can kind of see the Eora sticking through parts of that. See the frog light in these trees here. Really neat. There. Another balcony. This one kind of maybe get. Yep. Maybe too high up to see the area. Oh, there it is. Ooh, look at that. There you go. See? Really neat. Okay, almost to the top. Say it's still night. Hopefully nobody sleeps, and then we can kind of get that play around of what it looks like at night. It's kind of cool to get the ambient sound. Flowers here that light up at night. The balcony. The viewer there. That looks really sweet. You guys see how the build kind of changes there, and I kind of widen certain areas over others. Not only to connect to trees, but to kind of give it some uniqueness of each layer. Some layers are kind of thin and boring. Some have a little bit more, like this one here is just kind of square. This one's kind of more unique. Got some gapping, some angling going on there. So pretty neat. Oh, that's kind of a cool look right there. Could have built a balcony here. That looks neat. Oh, I do have a balcony nearby, I guess. That's kind of cool. Probably could chop some of these vines down, but still a pretty sweet perspective. See through the lake down there. Well, you can't really see it. It's mainly fog. And then now we're at the top. So top is just kind of a flat layer that goes all the way around. There's no elevation or anything like that. Got villagers up here. Chilling in a little storage area. some of the stuff I built. There should be, I believe, a balcony on the outside up here. Maybe not. Maybe not. Didn't get around to that. But, you know, still kind of cool. Probably should have put a few balconies up here, would have been nice. But, that. Okay, so now what we really want to do before this light comes out, we only got a couple hours left. So here's our fountain again. I'm going to give you that outward perspective of what this looks like. At night. Sun's coming up, unfortunately. But really neat. So here's the city. It's really cool at night because then you get to see all the light of the frog light and the glowberries, or flowberry, or glowberries. Sorry, we're not playing Fortnite, but kind of cool. You got to see all the treehouse peeking through. Fortunately, the sun just came up. And the land over here. So here you can get on the balconies if you want to. Get your way in. Your little sunset here. But yeah, that's mainly everything I've done. Siren's done a lot of cool stuff. You guys should get a chance to peek at hers. But you can kind of see, just kind of fly right in here. Do all sorts of things. I mean, you don't even necessarily have to land on a balcony. You can even just roam through the hair. So I have firefly little bushes here all throughout. Kind of give the ambient sound. Got these flowers throughout. Got frog lights. You know, it's fun. So even if you don't have an elytra, if you accidentally fall, you can just hit one of these water paths, go all the way back up. Kind of give that perspective. Oh, kind of give that perspective. What it looks like. Sad. This is going to be deleted today. So sad. On that, right? But kind of cool. Look down through here. But outright love the way this turned out. Wish I could work on it a little bit longer, but you know, it is what it is. But really cool. You can see I can try to match the doorways up above where all the different lights and sea lanterns are there. So kind of cool. So in creative, I'd probably look at this, but this looks like really sweet right there. The effect that gives you. Love the way that looks coming down. Stage again. I love the way that turned out. Now it's not quite centered on the water, but you know it's centered for that above there, but around these water pillars. So really neat. Okay. It's been really fun actually doing this build, and kind Thanks to Maddynf and allowing us to do this, but it's been fun. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, guys.